Minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just getting increasingly angry as this hearing goes forward. I think, there's a Groundhog Day feel to this. And I want to make the request because, we have these witnesses come back for representing different departments over and over again. And there's a discussion about efforts to comply with the subpoenas. The Republicans state their dissatisfaction with that. But in the process, there's, I would think, communications between the majority staff and the departments. Apparently, minority staff doesn't get included in those. I'd like to see those because, frankly, when I look at some of these document requests, they're ridiculously overbroad. I mean, the one here from April 18, 2018, number one, all documents and communications from January 1, 2020 to the present referring or relating to the moderation, deletion, suppression, restriction, or reduced circulation of content, the development, execution, or application of companies' content moderation policy. I mean, how many documents are we expecting to get from, there should be some limitations on a request that broad. And I got to say this too, and it's a little broader than the context of this hearing, but the effort to comply with the Republican request for documents and information has gone above and beyond. I mean, having Weiss come up here to testify in the middle of a prosecution, a federal prosecution that the Republicans clearly want to have go forward, or I would think, and then asking him questions that no prosecutor should ever be asked in the middle of a prosecution. I think you never do that. But the Department of Justice took the extra step and made him available to come testify. And now, when you didn't like what he said, now the committee's issued subpoenas to the next layer of prosecutors, Ms. Wolf and others. Same thing with the SES request too, which I thought was, again, over the top. It's pretty unusual to have 5 SES employees come and testify, but didn't like what they said, I guess. And then you tried to go and get lower level staff to testify. And in doing that, apparently majority staff reached out directly to people who were represented by counsel at the department in violation of Bar Council Rule 4.2. And you got a letter back from Chair Khan on that point, which I think is good. But I think we need to make sure what we're trying to do here with the committee is use the powers for the right purposes. I mean, you, Mr. Chair, made a reference to legislative purpose. I don't know that the Judiciary Committee has any jurisdiction over the State Department, really. And the legislative purpose for some of the things you've requested, like this stuff about morale at the FTC, I don't really know what the legislative fix would be for morale issues. And by the way, as somebody who's been on the opposite end of these kinds of subpoenas, you want to hurt morale for staff? Have them spend entire days going through files to turn up documents for stuff that's not relevant to the mission that they're trying to address. Because you know what? The State Department's, we've got 2 hot wars we're in the middle of right now with respect to Ukraine, with respect to Hamas. There's a lot of other things. I mean, Anthony Blinken, I feel like he's on a plane somewhere every day. But we've got, instead of them addressing those kinds of issues, this is what we're talking about. Documents for, what is this? I guess there's some theory about pipe bombs or, some kind of fake effort or false flag with respect to the pipe bombs. And I'm looking at this, the January 6th. I think they've had 800 successful prosecutions in that case. Not one witness, not one case has raised anything about this. In Homeland Security, we had something about ghost buses where they're saying they were false FBI agents undercover pretending to be part of the January 6th invasion, and there's not one piece of evidence to support it. 800 convictions, pleas, and trials. Nobody's raised this, and if they have a right to get it, it's in a criminal case. Same thing with this confidential human source stuff. If there's a confidential human source that testifies or has relevant information in a criminal case, it has to be disclosed. Where is the evidence of that in the cases that have come forward? I submit that there's none. I've run out of time. I guess I'll come back to this on the second round. But I would ask, just out of good faith, allow us to participate in the meetings and get the emails that you send. And when they come up here to give full days of meetings to try and figure out this, how to comply with the subpoenas, please let us know so we can participate.
I would be happy to take that under advisement. I would also state I think they know how to comply.